welcome to our special report, the program that brings you a ground zero view from whichever part of the country the Rajya Sabha TV cameras are travelling. This week we are in the commercial capital of Mumbai, the metropolis, which is growing at a feverish pitch. But are the infrastructural developments matching with the pace of the urban growth? Is redevelopment the only solution? And what are the government policies on development and redevelopment? Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take a closer look at all these issues.
अकेला इस शहर में रात में और दोपहर में आबोदाना ढूंढता है आशियाना ढूंढता है.
This Bollywood golden track of the yesteryears talks about the life of a man in Mumbai, his search for the home or the ashiana. Years down the line, houses have been built, city has progressed by leaps and bounds, but the quest of the Mumbaikar still continues. Some 100,000 people live in dilapidated buildings across Mumbai. Old residential buildings belonging to cooperative housing societies and chawls in suburban areas pose grave danger to the lives and properties of the occupants. Rajya Sabha TV travelled across India's commercial capital to assess efforts to redevelop Mumbai. In 2006, UPA government presented a 60,000 crore plan for transforming Mumbai into the next Shanghai. But years down the line, rapid urbanization and migration is putting tremendous pressure on Mumbai's urban infrastructure, resulting in a shortage of urban housing within city limits and an unprecedented real estate boom in far-flung suburbs like Mumra Kalwa, Diva, Khargar, Panvel, Kalyan, Dombivli, Bhivandi, Meera Bhayandar or Vasai Virar. Since supply fell woefully short of demand, illegal construction thrived under the land mafia with or without the sanction of authorities.
सरकार इतनी सीरियस नहीं है. अगर आप जाहिर करते हो कि ये निर्णय हम लेंगे तो वो निर्णय का अमल होने के लिए महीना, 2 महीने, 3 महीने, 4 महीने में पॉलिसी तैयार होकर उसका अमल होना चाहिए.
On April 4th, 2013, a building collapsed in Mumra, the tribal land in suburban Mumbai. 74 people, mostly construction workers and families, died in what is seen as the worst building collapse in the city. The building was under construction and did not have an occupancy certificate for its 100 to 150 low to middle income residents.
Okay, in any redevelopment, you need to give a human touch. You cannot just throw people out. You cannot behave like China. So we need to rehabilitate them. The question here arises, the prices are so high and the attraction towards the area is so much that people are not ready to leave their places in their area and go into other area. So that becomes a big hurdle to redevelop or to rehabilitate them in the same area. So that becomes a problem.
Mumbai's skyline is dotted with several buildings that could collapse in a strong monsoon shower. Mumbai has seen an alarming number of building collapses this year, but what is more worrying is the neglect of old buildings and poorly constructed new ones.
Calculation went haywire. Developer cannot deliver. The society wants their whatever been promised by the developer. So in a way, the redevelopment of societies or maybe pagri system and other old and dilapidated buildings, cess building, Maharashtra cess buildings are there. It's practically now very difficult to go ahead for the redevelopment process.
Apart from the fact that no resident can be forcibly evicted from a private building, even redevelopment requires the consent of 70% of the tenants, which often leads to a long struggle for the developer. Sometimes it takes years to obtain the consent of 70% of the tenants to begin redevelopment. Redevelopment is the only answer to the problem of old structures in the commercial capital. But residents of many old buildings across the city are resisting redevelopment, posing a big problem for the government and the developers. Municipal laws in Mumbai do not allow forcible eviction.
As far as redevelopment is concerned, it is very difficult to get the aggrieved member flat vacated, which adds on to the project cost, and once the project is not feasible, automatically it cannot be successful.
When redevelopment takes place, the residents have to be rehabilitated. And this rehabilitation is the responsibility of the developer if it is a private building, of the Maharashtra Housing Area Development Authority, that is MHADA, if it's a cess building, and of the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation if it owns the building. BMC is looking at ways to make the forcible eviction from private buildings legally possible. With the Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act 1888 preventing it, BMC is checking with its law department if it can invoke the National Disaster Management Act for eviction from dangerous buildings. There are problems with civic-owned properties too. Tenants are provided transit accommodation until they can be shifted back, but not everyone is willing to go. Transit camps are an important aspect of redeveloping any metropolis, where the tenants are usually given an interim place to stay, and after some point of time they are sent back to their original place. Right now I am at one of the transit camps in Borivali, and let's talk to the people and find out the situation. Close to 500 families stay in this transit camp. Residents are dissatisfied with the way MHADA treats them. People allege that they have been paying 500 rupees as the accommodation fee, but these camps are poorly maintained. Let's now take you inside some houses.
वहाँ से मैं रोटी बनाते बनाते सारा गिरा, इतना बड़ा सीलिंग गिरा, इतना 5 किलो से ज़्यादा वजन था उसमें उसका। फिर वो तो थोड़ी में वो बच्ची इधर आई तो लेने आई, इसीलिए बच गई, नहीं तो हॉस्पिटल में ही जाने वाली थी।
MHADA officials who accompanied us to the transit camp had to face the occupants' ire.
ये क्या 10 साल इधर रहने का, 20 साल उधर रहने का, ये क्या लगा है ये लोग ने? हाँ, अब ये बुढ़ा इन लोग को हम कहाँ लेके जाएंगे? इन लोग को ये तो बात बताओ। हाँ, पीड़न पीड़े हम लोग का इधर ही जाएगा क्या? इन लोग को पहले ये सवाल पूछना चाहिए इन लोग को।
आज तक इन लोगों को, ऑफिसर को पूछो कि ये लोग कभी आए इधर, कभी आए थे, पूछो उनको। खाली अभी आते हैं नोटिस देने के लिए, और खाली कभी करते हैं, कभी है हमको दरवाजा तोड़ना है, खिड़की तोड़नी है, और सब ऑफिसर आते हैं तोड़ते हैं।
और ये लोगों के पास कुछ ये नहीं रहता है, कुछ उनका परमिशन कुछ भी नहीं रहता है, बस साथ में और लेके आते, और लोगों को धमकाने के लिए 4 पुलिस लेके आते हैं।
According to a recent study done by the Mumbai Transformation Support Unit, merely 8% of the 16,000 odd MHADA cess buildings have been redeveloped since 1999. Now, tenants looking to get the best deal and developers assured little incentive are the main reasons for this poor record. The Rent Control Act had a devastating effect on Mumbai, mainly because in 1950s, 75% of the families lived in rented buildings or chawls. Many buildings across Marine Drive, where rich people lived, houses were rented out at 100 to 200 rupees. Many such buildings still exist. Cherian, who has been staying in South Mumbai's posh Kolaba area for more than 4 decades, has been fighting against the builder-politician-bureaucrat nexus. He's now a disillusioned man and says redevelopment of Mumbai is next to impossible.
And I have several instances where even banks have been refused permission for redevelopment in South Bombay. If you try to develop an area, you are taking a risk. Tomorrow you can be thrown out beyond this area by the Portland people, beyond that side by the defense people.
Time for a short break now. Don't go away. We'll come back with lots more on Mumbai's redevelopment. Welcome back. You're watching our special report on Mumbai's redevelopment. Urban planning consultants feel that one needs to restore the rights of landowners and curtail the rights of tenants. Residents refuse to move out because they fear that they will get nothing as the owner will hand it over for redevelopment and earn all the profit.
I think the government needs to involve the citizen more in a meaningful way with the planning and above all the execution of those plans involving the citizen.
We lack professional capacity within the city in terms of adequate imaginations, but also in terms of implementation modes. There are just not enough planners. This entire mega city doesn't have a school of urban planning, doesn't have a program in urban planning. That is just unbelievable.
So how is government coping with redevelopment? The civic administration is charging 100% premium from builders who wish to have criterions for open spaces encompassing the buildings. The sudden mandate of additional premium has put the developers in a tight spot, especially the ones who've signed a deal with the cooperative housing societies.
Business is getting hampered. Why the prices are not going down in Mumbai? There are various factors. First is the approvals. If you take any project of redevelopment from the concept till implementation and till completion, it takes another 7 to 8 years minimum. So the proper, transparent and faster system, if implemented with a larger FSI, then really Mumbai can see an affordable housing.
Cluster redevelopment is another policy of the government which could change the face of this island city. Under the development control regulations, the minimum area required for redevelopment is about 40,000 square feet or 1 acre. The state government has even proposed a brand new makeover plan under which the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation and government town planners will carve out medium and large-sized neighbourhoods from a pocket which could then be redeveloped using the cluster redevelopment approach. More than 60% of the population in Mumbai stays in the slum areas, and to man and manage the slum dwellers, you have a slum development authority which verifies the identity of the slum dwellers and gives accommodation to the legal occupants. There are 3 categories of slums in Mumbai: chawls and patra chawls, which are semi-permanent structures; zoparpattis, that is the squatter housing; and pavement dwellings. Slum Rehabilitation Authority for the first time now has taken a proactive stand by inviting proposals for the redevelopment of 219 slum pockets under the Coastal Regulation Zone 2 area, which could give a major boost as far as the facelift of the slums is concerned.
You'll be shocked to know that there are many pockets in Mumbai like this one, which is the Bandra Kurla complex. Lots of slum dwellers are staying here. It's supposed to be a high-profile area. Now, developers are ready to pay these slum dwellers a whopping amount up to 1 or 2 crores. But then also, these slum dwellers do not want to shift out of this place.
Still in last decade or so, slums have increased manifold, and you have nearly 60% of Mumbai's population living in slums. So essentially, majority of the city lives in slums. And if you really need to create inclusive housing, you need to promote redevelopment with a view that a stock which will be created not at 1 crore or 2 crore rupees, but something which will be a much lesser value.
According to the government survey, Mumbai has close to 1,500 heritage sites, and redevelopment of such sites is also not an easy task.
The Mumbai Heritage Conservation Committee has raised questions on the way the cluster redevelopment and slum rehabilitation schemes are eating into the characters of the heritage precincts across the city.
The owners of heritage properties will now be able to enjoy the fruits of redevelopment without messing around with the history and architecture of their buildings. In a shift from regulation to rewards, the new heritage regulation policy proposes to allow the owners of such properties to not only sell the extra FSI available to them as transfer development rights, but also sell it at market rates. The move could boost the preservation of heritage structures in the city.
Unless you lay that infrastructure, you cannot allow high-rises to come up. So if the answer is high-rise to cope with the density, then it is important that your infrastructure is completely in place, and that is where the government has been failing.
Time for a short break now. Don't go away. We'll come back with lots more on Mumbai's redevelopment. Back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching our special report on Mumbai's redevelopment.
Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's dream of transforming Mumbai into a Shanghai not only requires money but also lots of time. Some of the key projects, including the Mumbai Metro Rail Transport System, will be completed only by 2021. A water supply project which was supposed to get completed in 2012 is still underway. And a facelift for Dharavi, which was supposed to be over by March 2008, is still caught in red tapes.
We have brought a new act which is protecting, which is known as Maharashtra Housing Act 2012, which has been pending by the Delhi central government. The governor has given it to the president, and he may be approved. We are saying in future with this act, no developers cannot sell their area into the market till then they don't register to this authority which we are making in the new act.
In 2005, the central government launched the Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission to pursue the urban reforms and put the city development on the fast track. But the primary evil identified by this very mission was the gap between the unfortunately fast pace of urban growth and infrastructural development.
Redevelopment activities are taking place on a large scale in the western suburbs of Mumbai, such as Andheri, Jogeshwari, Goregaon, Borivali, Dahisar, etc. With limited land resources, many developers based in the suburbs are opting for redevelopment of existing projects. Redevelopment is no more about slum development. Redevelopment is a huge market where a developer has to work with cooperative housing societies that can use higher FSI because of the new development rules. A large number of reputed developers in the western suburbs have already gotten into redevelopment of projects. redevelopment to be effective, it is imperative to boost the infrastructure in the region. Better mode of transport, improved sanitary conditions, etc. are the need of the hour. Some prominent infrastructure initiatives have been taken, including the World Bank-supported Mumbai Urban Transport Project, mass rapid transit systems like Metro Rail Project and Monorail. However, a meaningful redevelopment of the city will need a concerted effort from builders, occupants and the authorities.
Redevelopment is a natural process associated with the development of any city or metropolis. The need of the hour perhaps is to protect the interests of all so that this island city of Mumbai, which has always gone down the pages of history, looks beautiful and leaves a lingering memory in everyone's mind. On that note, time for us to wrap this edition of Special Report. Goodbye and thanks for watching.